So, you absolutely love dogs, and you've got this dream of turning that passion into a real professional business. Well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to walk through the entire journey from that initial idea to becoming a fully licensed, 5-star rated dog home boarding business right here in England. Now, it's a path that has a lot of official rules, so let's just dive in and start right there.
I mean, does this sound like you? Are you the person who thinks, you know what, I could create the perfect home away from home for dogs? A place that's safe, that's happy, that's just right. If you're nodding along, then stick with me. We're about to get into the nuts and bolts, the real step-by-step guide you'll need to make it happen.
Okay, here's our roadmap. We've broken it all down into 5 key parts. First up, getting your license. That's the official starting line you just can't skip. Then we'll talk about getting your home ready for business. After that, it's all about the day-to-day dog care essentials, how to run a genuinely safe business. And finally, the secret sauce to getting and keeping that amazing star rating. Think of this as your blueprint for success. Right, first things first. Before you even think about welcoming your first furry guest, you have to make it official. And that means navigating the licensing process. This is not a suggestion, it's a straight-up legal requirement, and the whole journey kicks off with your local authority. As you can see, there's a very clear 7-step process laid out. And it's designed this way for a reason. To be thorough, to be fair, and to make sure that everyone is held to the exact same high standard. From the moment you submit your application to that final decision, it's a formal procedure that's all about making sure you're truly ready to provide a safe, professional service. So, who is this inspector that's going to come and visit your home? Well, let me tell you, it's not just some random person with a clipboard. They have to be what's officially called a suitably qualified inspector, and that means they either hold a pretty high-level qualification in animal care or, get this, they're a qualified vet. It's a serious check, ensuring your setup is being looked at by a real professional from day one. And during that visit, the inspector is looking at, well, everything. Your actual home, all your paperwork, your procedures, and most importantly, they're looking at the condition of any animals you might have there. They're putting all these puzzle pieces together to answer one single massive question. Do you have what it takes to meet every single license condition? Okay, so we've got our heads around the paperwork. Now let's get practical. This section is all about turning your house from just a home into a space that is compliant, safe, and totally ready for business. And this slide right here is a perfect example of the level of detail we're talking about. The law can sound a little vague, right? It says your fence needs to be strong and rigid. But what does that actually mean? Well, in practice, it translates to these incredibly specific standards. We're talking right down to the millimeter for mesh size and wire diameter. Every single requirement has a practical, measurable standard you have to hit. And it's not just about the garden fence. Inside your home, all your surfaces need to be smooth and easy to disinfect. Your floors have got to be safe and non-slip. Every room you plan to use for the dogs needs a proper, securable door. And all windows and external doors, they have to be completely escape-proof and lockable. You're essentially dog-proofing your entire operation to a professional standard. All right, so you've got the license, your home is prepped and ready. Now we get to the heart of it, the really good stuff, the actual day-to-day care of the dogs. This is where all those high welfare standards really come to life through your daily routines and enrichment. You see, a top-rated business doesn't just let the dogs run wild all day. It follows a structured program. We're talking daily health checks, different types of exercise from free play to structured walks, and mental stimulation with things like puzzle toys. It also means making sure the dogs socialize properly and, this is crucial, get enough downtime. Dogs need to rest, sometimes up to 18 hours a day. A structured day like this is absolutely key to meeting those higher welfare standards. Now, hygiene, especially around feeding time, it is totally non-negotiable, and the rules are incredibly specific. Bowls have to be non-porous and cleaned every single day. If you're handling raw food, it needs its own separate airtight storage, and you have to disinfect all surfaces immediately after. Fresh water has to be available 24/7, and you can't just leave wet food out. After 15 minutes, it's gotta go to stop any bacteria from growing. Looking after the dogs is, of course, the main event, but it's only half the story. You are also running a business, which means you're responsible for managing risk, for planning for emergencies, and for keeping absolutely meticulous records. This quote right here, this should be your mantra. Your number one priority always is safety. Safety for the dogs, safety for yourself, and safety for anyone else on your property. This mindset has to be the foundation for all of your formal procedures, from risk assessments all the way to your emergency plans.
And this is where that safety-first thinking is so critical. Look, you can't just throw a bunch of dogs that don't know each other into a room together. A detailed risk assessment for every single dog is absolutely vital. Just look at this example. The lab cross guards its food and doesn't get along with other dogs, so it can only board alone. Meanwhile, Hugo the Spaniel is sweet, but he's small and a bit submissive, so he can only board with similar dogs. You can see how fast a dangerous situation could happen if you didn't do these assessments. And you've got a plan for the worst-case scenario. What if there's a fire? You need a written evacuation plan and a clear assembly point. You need all your emergency contacts in one place, a backup plan for temporary boarding if something happens to your home, and, of course, a fully stocked first aid kit. A professional business is a prepared business. Okay, last section. Let's talk about the result of all this incredible hard work, your star rating. This is not just a sticker you put on your website. It's the official mark of quality that really defines your reputation and even decides how long your license is valid for. And the goal for anyone who's serious about this is to get those 5 stars. It is the gold standard. It tells your customers, it tells the local council, it tells everyone that you are operating at the absolute highest level of animal welfare and professionalism. Now, this table is really interesting because the star ratings aren't just a matter of opinion. They're calculated using this matrix. The inspector basically scores you on 2 things: your risk level, which is all about your track record and compliance, and the welfare standards they actually see on the day. So if you're a low-risk operator who also meets the higher standards, boom, you get 5 stars and a 3-year license. But if you're higher risk and only meeting the minimum, you're looking at 2 stars and you'll have to reapply in just 1 year. Now hang on, because this is a super important detail for anyone just starting out. Because you're new, you don't have a compliance history yet. That means you are automatically, no matter what, put in the higher risk category for your very first license. So even if your standards are absolutely perfect, the best you can possibly get on day 1 is a 4-star rating. Knowing that is so important for managing your own expectations. So how do you finally get into that low-risk club? Well, it's all about building a solid track record of being great at what you do. It means a history of perfect compliance, 0 valid complaints, and proving to the inspectors year after year that your understanding of animal welfare and safety is just second to none. That is the path to the 5-star rating and a longer, more secure license. So after seeing all the details, the professional standards, and the sheer dedication it takes, here's the real question. Are you ready? Are you ready to build a business that's not just about a passion for dogs, but one that provides the absolute highest standard of care and is ready to meet every single requirement to earn that 5-star rating?